How do you feel about that YouTube thing we were watching today when Amala said they came to her house and they were asking her if she was being paid to push the whole Diddy narrative?
Oh, yeah. The private investigators?
The private investigators?
Yeah. Who do you think sent them?
I don't know, but if they want to come, we'll be more than happy to take the cash and
exactly
push us, get us over the top.
And you need to tell the backstory. So basically what happened, two private investigators went to a lot of influencers' houses and asked them if they got paid for talking about the P.Diddy stuff.
The P.Diddy court cases and accusations and stuff. And then I think if I heard correctly, they said, if you did, how much were you getting paid? And we'd be willing to pay you more so you could swing it the other way.
Yeah. So, do you think P. Diddy sent them? Sounds like it, because they didn't say anything about a specific actor. So I think it's P. Diddy.
Or maybe it's someone that doesn't want to be, that's associated with him, that worried about their career.
True.
The guys got outed.
Yeah, on TikTok.
And YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how far that's going to go.
No, it's hard to be anonymous doing stuff like that now. But back in the 70s, 80s...
Hey, you knock on the door in a suit now, you're like, hey, open the door.
And exactly. No one was filming you. You can get away with anything back in the days.
Yeah.
You can make people disappear back in the days. It's hard now.
I mean, it's that whole old joke, right? Back then, if you left your wife and kids or you broke up with someone, you just move a town over. They never saw you again.
Yeah, walk over the hill.
Yeah, go over the hill. They never saw you again.
Yeah.
Now they can find you.
That maybe not in the 80s, but...
Probably in the 80s. You could probably move 2 towns over and never got seen again. You know? Think about that.
I'm thinking. Yeah, there's no social media.
If you broke up with your family and moved down south 30 years ago, probably never see you again.
True. You don't need a lot of town. But maybe you can go in the phone book. Remember the old phone book, the big one?
But how many people how many people weren't in the phone book?
Yeah, if you don't register
because they were updated
in the phone
like
book.
every year, phone books.
Yeah.
They had phone books when I was little.
Yeah. No, you can disappear 30 years ago.
For sure. Go 2 towns over. Start a whole new life. Wife and kids.
And try 60 years ago. You can really disappear.
You just move next door.
Yeah. You can just move down the street.
I've always thought that was kind of cool. Like back, remember how your reputation would carry? Hundreds of years ago. Oh, you're Tom Carlson from the so-and-so clan. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because it was only word of mouth, and then your legend kind of grew, and they bragged about you, and you probably sound bigger than you were. But that was how, it's pretty much what you did that carried your name, right?
Yeah, word of mouth.
But you see what I'm trying to get? That's crazy.
Yeah. That's how you build reputation. And also,
but you could also bullshit and be like, I'm so-and-so, and they're like, oh, because they never saw you.
Yeah.
I bet that happened a few times. But how many times would they maybe run into the actual person and be like, oh, that's who you are? That's me, you son of a bitch. And then it was on.
Yeah. And you can also...
That had to have happened, dude.
And also, they don't know how you look. So you can tell them you're that dude that's famous.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like some brave knight or a king from somewhere or some brave warrior or a duke. You know what I'm trying to say? Like to pull chicks.
I'm Tom Carlson, the Duke of whatever town.
Flee for flow for fliegen.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
so
you
it's
can just
like,
pull that.
Yeah, dude, and they would never know the difference.
But you have to dress well. So you have to have some money to dress well to pull it off. Or you dress down and you're like, nah, I want to be low key.
It's like the old days. Yeah, it's like now you can kind of out anybody in social media, right? But 20 years ago, 25 years ago, someone could be like, yeah, I'm this and this and this. And they're like, oh, really? It was all on page. Like you just wrote it down. And now they'd be like,
yeah,
let me see this guy. Look you up quick, you know?
If you're going on a date, they look you up quick.
I actually know for a fact some companies check out your social media before they hire you. See what you're about. Yeah, look at your Instagram. And
wait, if they look at my Instagram, they won't find shit.
But think about that.
Yeah.
Some of y'all probably aren't getting jobs because you're following Big Butt Brenda from the Bronx or something.
I heard people like, when people see that you don't have Instagram and stuff, they think you're weird or you're hiding something or whatever. I think it's kind of cool to find someone that doesn't have Instagram.
It's how it's used, right?
Yeah.
Try to use it as a tool and not if it's just, I don't know. I think it's gotten out of hand.
Yeah, but if you can't look someone up on Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or whatever, they people panic. Like, what is this guy
Maybe you're a
about?
serial killer. Maybe you got something to hide.
Yeah. Well, I got my.
But then again, if you have Instagram,
I got my YouTube. I got hours and hours of footage.
But then again, on Instagram, using Instagram as an example, you could still hide in plain daylight, right? You could build this whole world that people see. That'd probably be a better way to hide. From not being on Instagram or social media, that's like, oh, well, then you don't know what they're up to. But if you make this whole illusion on social media, that's probably the better way, is to hide in plain sight.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Like, you can make this whole world on Instagram that you're doing this and you're that person and you've gone this place, and behind closed doors you've got like bodies in your basement and you're like a thief, or
So
but you're giving someone a different trail to follow.
So you're basically saying, like, use stock footage, fine footage?
Well, no. I mean, you could still be who you are, but they're not seeing who you really are. Like so many people already do.
Yeah,
but I'm just taking
it
to an extreme.
Yeah.
Do you follow me on that?
Yeah. Well, that's what serial killers does. Like, a lot of serial killers are playing another part in public.
They don't post their accomplishments online.
No. Not a lot of people do that. They film it sometimes, and they find the tapes. It's always a VHS as well. It's like an old camera. No one films it on
it's
the
like,
iPhone.
who the hell uses VHS now, or camcorder?
No one films it on an iPhone. You don't get it in the cloud.
I've heard the cloud has got a lot of people in trouble.
The cloud?
The cloud. Stepping out.
An airdrop.
Airdrop?
They changed airdrop. Because now when you are going to airdrop someone, you always have to go into settings.
Yeah, it's a bit of a...
I think that was because people were sending dick pics through airdrop on airplanes. I think that's the reason.
Airdrop on airplanes?
Yeah, because if you went on airdrop on an airplane and people had the settings on, you can just drop a dick pic to whomever, and they can't see who it's from. You can just drop a dick pic.
Yeah, you can. It always tells you who it's coming from.
Does it really?
Yeah, it pops up a little circle and it says the name of the person on the phone.
Yeah, but if you don't have the person in your phone, it's just a number. I think.
Good point. Really?
Allegedly.
I don't know.
I heard.
But it just seems very like a step back when you're trying to airdrop photos to someone or something.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, I got to go in the settings, and then it's like, I think it's for contacts, everyone, and then everyone, only contacts or something, and then one of them is like everyone for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Apple, pick your game up.
You can do a lot of damage in 10 minutes on an airplane. Just see who's on there. Just drop weird photos.
That's so awful to do stuff like that, man.
I heard someone
unsolicited photos.
I heard someone went on a plane and just airdropped a photo of an Asian family, just an Asian family, to all the phones on the airplane, just to fuck with them. Like they opened their phone and there was like an Asian family there, just to play tricks on their mind.
Yeah, I guess that's so odd that you'd be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, what's going on here? That's random. Like a dick pic is so obvious. Yeah, you want to show your dick.
I think it'd be creepier if someone sent you a photo of you in that moment. But when you look around, everyone's just doing their own thing, so you don't know who did it. But you'd have to be like the angle. But if someone's going to send you a photo, airdrop you a photo of yourself on the plane eating something, like you're in the moment, you're like...
Yeah. But you kind of can't see the angle.
It depends, right? Maybe they took a photo and went behind the little area where you go to the toilet and stuff, and then they went back to their seat and they're just doing this. You know nobody.
And zoom and stuff. Like if they zoom in real close on your face.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be even better. If they cropped into like just your face, but you can clearly tell that you're like wearing the shirt, that you're like, what the shit? That would mess with you.
You watch too many movies, because that's the beginning of a scary movie.
That would be like the good
white chick making food, and
I want to do that now.
Then blip blip.
I want to do that now.
And that's a photo of her making the food in the kitchen.
I want to do that
now,
but we can't because they have to accept my airdrop. So I should have thought of this a long time ago. That would be fun.
Yeah, you missed your chance. That sucks. Apple better step their game up.
How did I miss that?
Apple better step their game up.
Wow, that could have been fun.
Apple don't have to pick their game up, because have you ever used a Samsung phone? Apple doesn't have to do shit.
They're crap.
Yeah.
And I know I've got friends right now that are going to watch this and get mad at me because they're Samsung users. I told you, dude, when I see that it's not blue when I get the message, if it's not in WhatsApp, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I've blown
What's
girls
your
off for that.
problem?
I'm like, ugh, she's a
What's your
Samsung user.
problem? That's worse
It's
than
not attractive.
not being on social media.
It just shows me your standards.
Yeah.
It just shows me your mindset and your standards, and your parents did not raise you correctly.
And your priorities.
And your priority. That's what I mean. You know, you just been raised wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, Samsung, you suck.
My sister did Samsung forever. Samsung and Google phones and whatever it was.
Oh, shit.
And then
They're
she finally
complete
got an iPhone, and then
they just make it so easy for you not to leave the ecosystem.
Especially when you have a MacBook and an iPad and Apple TV.
Right.
It's all connected.
Right.
So it's so
but
easy.
Samsung users, I think there's a whole war going on there.
Yeah, they're
Apple's just a better way of life. I'm sorry.
The Samsung users are very religious about it. It's almost like a vegan.
Like you hear about it.
Or a CrossFit.
Well, I think what it is they're probably very defensive about having a Samsung because they know. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, they want the Samsung, and they know when they pull their phone out, there may be some judgment there.
A lot. Especially for me.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they're
doing?
like, oh, I think there's some judgment there, and they feel a little, like, dirty, a little weird, but they like it, and they have to defend it.
And it's a war between... because people that defend Samsung, there is a war between it. Like, I can take a picture of the moon here with this phone, and it's better pixels, but it's never better pixels. It's always better pixel, but a shittier photo for some reason. Have you noticed that?
I think it's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
But I have a friend...
Like, the pixels is off the charts, and it's the best camera, but every time they take a photo, it's a shitty photo.
I have a friend right now that's trying to transfer all his stuff because his Samsung is, like, on his last leg at work, and we just got him a new phone, an iPhone. He is having the hardest time to transfer everything over.
Oh, yeah.
When I just took the new phone I had for the old work phone, it's like bloop, bloop. It went right over.
Just a click.
Just had to make sure you had a good Wi-Fi, and he is pulling his hair out because now he's walking around with two phones because he's got half of the stuff manually he put on the iPhone, but the Samsung he has to still use, and the Samsung's acting up.
You have to.
Samsungs are shit.
I guess if you do a Samsung phone and then you get a new Samsung, if you stick with Samsung, maybe it's easy.
Oh, it's got to be. What's that other phone that they still make them? What was the one with the whole Chinese-Japanese thing? Was it Huawei?
Huawei.
And
Did they still make them?
I don't know, but if I remember correctly, they were in with Leica. They had Leica lenses.
Really?
In the camera. I think, maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me. I'm pretty sure y'all correct us on everything else. Correct me on that. I think there was a stint there where they had
this message.
Whatever. I'll be more than happy to respond. I think they had some kind of partnership with Leica, and it was a Leica lens made by Leica Lens, and it said Leica on it, and that's one of the reasons why I was like, ooh, maybe I want to check that phone out. But then I heard that it was like a security risk, and then I knee-jerked and never looked into it. I don't know if they still make them, though.
Yeah, but hate to tell you, everything is a security risk. Everyone is spying on you on every phone you get. It's
but I'd rather be spied on by America.
Yeah, well.
Then, it's like if they bust me, I'm like, hey, you guys are looking at me. But if they bust me, they're like, hey, why is China paying attention to you? See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a little more. I'm like, dude, I'm in your backyard, and you're spying on me, and I'm in your backyard. You can't get mad at me for having...
Why is people so afraid of China?
I don't know. Because they're badasses, dude. China don't play around.
They don't. No, but
China does not
And
play
then there
around.
was the Google Pixel phone as well. That's another phone.
What happened with that?
I don't know, but it's still out there. I always respect seeing a person rock a flip phone.
How about those people that you see that they just have a phone that you're like, what the hell is that? It's like not really an iPhone. It's not really Sony makes a phone.
Yeah, Sony makes phones. Yeah.
And once in a while, someone will pop up with a Sony. I'm like, yo, and that looks wild.
That's like a rebel. That's
phone,
almost punk.
That phone looks wild. And then, but there's some
Samsung I can't get with, but if someone pops up a Sony phone, I'm like, oh, you're a punk.
Yeah, but there's
rock.
like that. There's some third parties that are just weird. It's like it's not a Samsung. It's not a Apple. I'm like, what is that? You got a charger for this? I'm like, no, I don't have a charger for that. I've never seen that phone in my life.
No one has a charger for that. You can't even buy a charger in the store.
It takes like an HDMI to charge it.
You have to spend hours on Amazon to find a charger.
Yeah, where did you get this phone? That is so wild. It's like when you go to the malls in Florida and you go to like those kiosks, they have all those different phones, and then there's some brands you're like, because you go there for your really expensive charger.
Yeah, I was pissed.
I
was like, this charger better cure cancer, because that's how expensive it was.
Well, you bought it, but they have all these phones.
I was like, I brought this amount of money for the trip, and all is gone on a charger. That was a crazy expensive charger.
Oh, that was too funny, dude. I was laughing my ass off.
And it's only a charger. It doesn't charge faster. It doesn't do anything. It's a long cord, but that's about it.
You paid for the length, as some of us do.
I guess.
No, but there was all these odd phones.
Yeah.
Odd phones, man. You know?
Dude, Nokia dropped the ball. They were the shit.
BlackBerry dropped the ball. BlackBerry was the shit. I'm sorry.
Is BlackBerry still doing phone? That's a good question.
I think they might be.
Dude, that's hardcore.
I'm sorry. No, dude, I
never had one.
I actually liked the BlackBerry.
Did you have one?
This old company I worked with, it was all BlackBerry across the board.
That's such a douchebag phone.
No. I liked it, dude. It was that phone got shit on a little bit more than it should have. That thing was sweet. They had some nice brands, and then one day, all of a sudden, we just got Apples, and they switched everything over, and I was like, well, what happened? And then that was when I found out that BlackBerry screwed up or something. I don't know what happened, but
they dropped the ball, and Nokia
they're uncrackable, right? Like, you can't get into BlackBerries.
Probably not.
I think they're out of Canada, aren't they?
No idea.
Check me on that. But I think they're uncrackable or you can't get into them. Like, they won't give up their data or something like that. I think that was one of the reasons.
Isn't Apple?
Apple
won't give up their data either.
There's actually
especially
a documentary.
Not on the shooter that shot Trump. They can't get into his phone.
But there's actually a documentary about BlackBerry I want to watch.
Really?
Yeah, because it's supposed to be an interesting story.
So we had BlackBerry back then. We had Nokia.
Samsung
was back then as well, right?
Samsung was back then too.
Yeah,
Nokia
they've been in the game for a
Nokia
while.
was pretty good.
Nokia was the shit. Out of
Snake,
Finland.
remember those ones? Snake. That I don't give a shit when anyone says best game ever.
Dude, Nokia 3310. That was the phone. That's unbreakable. You can drop that from a skyscraper and make a call.
Well, the thing is too, right? In this day and age, that's probably the phone you want, right? Like, if shit goes down, that's going to be the one that works, not an iPhone.
That's like a satellite phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the grid goes down, a Nokia,
those old bad boys,
that will work.
Snake. Used to love that.
Snake as well.
Used to love that game.
In a zombie apocalypse.
And that battery lasted.
Oh yeah.
I don't even think I owned a charger when I had that.
Bro, you didn't need one. You bought a phone, and then
bought the Nokia.
You just bought a new phone when the battery went out.
Funny. I think
So 3-4 years later.
Samsung had the flip phone, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't remember.
With a shit camera on it. You're like, yo, man, this looks so good. And it was like like Atari pixels.
How come?
So
how come, dude? I've been thinking about this. How come we thought the photos were acceptable back then? Like, how can... I remember a friend of mine was like a hobby photographer, and he took like photos. And I remember going on his Instagram, went back to those photos because he still had them posted. They were so shit.
I can do it.
And back then, we were like, whoa, that's such a nice photo.
I can do it better.
Didn't we have the same eyes?
Yeah.
What happened?
I think it was just something new, and you were blinded, because I remember...
But it's still shit, because you still have the same eyesight, but you thought the photos were so great.
Yeah, but you never saw anything like it. Because I was, in like the early 2000s, I was traveling, working as a dive instructor, right, around the world. And I remember we had a little Sony. It was like the first underwater Sony camera, and it had like the little Carl Zeiss lens on it. And I think it was like 4.5 megapixels, maybe. And we would take photos, and everyone was like, oh my God. And they were blown away, and they're looking at them. And then it somehow grew legs, and I lost it or whatever. And then I found it like years later as I plugged it back in and turned it on. I'm like, what was I thinking? It looks so bad, dude. It's like now my camera's got 60 megapixels, 43 megapixels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's insane, or up. And it was just so funny, because I remember being on a boat and people were over my shoulder, and we were zooming in because it was actually here in Long Island. Someone had took a photo while they were bone fishing. They were holding their bonefish up, and I took a photo, and you could see in the lens the reflection of me taking the photo. And we were all on the boat after, and everyone was like, whoa, man. I was like, I know, right? Like, I was like the man for like 10 minutes, right? And now I think it's just the moment, right?
Yeah.
It's even how we consume social media now. If it's not fast enough, we just...
Yeah.
We had the tolerance back then for longer things, right? I think that's probably the same thing. But I remember what you're talking about, like
People
the
don't
flip
have
phone.
time to
The flip
zoom in
phone videos were potato, man.
Yeah. We even have like the small digital cameras, I remember.
That's what I'm talking about, the Sony. It was a Sony digital camera. That's
I thought it was a Sony phone.
No, it was underwater. It was, and it could go in water and stuff like that. And it was like supposedly the shit. And Olympus, they were pretty much ahead of the game with that too, with the photos. I remember that.
Yeah, but with camera stuff as well, like GoPro is dropping the ball as well. DJI is just taking over.
Well, everyone gets their turn, right?
Yeah, I guess.
GoPro.
But DJI is like Huawei. Huawei.
Huawei.
Huawei. That's like, I think that's a Chinese company as well. And they say they're spying on everyone.
Whatever. I love like DJI plug. But no, I think GoPro has been dropping the ball for years.
Why is that?
I jumped
in.
Because they were
when like they had the market.
When they first came out.
Action cameras, they had the market.
Yes, I was gifted my first GoPro. I'm not going to name drop, but you know who gave it to me.
Yes.
And he was like, dude, they send me tons of them. You can have this one. And I remember...
one of these days we're going to start name dropping.
And I remember he left his SD card in there when I was playing with it, right? And I opened it up, and he had put it on the front of his surfboard. Yeah. And it was at night, and they were watching lightning in Hawaii off the water. And I was like, oh, my God, dude. And I texted him, and I was like, bro, you got like 20 minutes video. He's like, no, don't worry about it. You can clear it. Just keep it. And I was like, oh, okay. But I remember thinking the camera for back then was doing so good at night. And it was, because you could still see palm trees and stuff. That was the first generation, and it had to take a housing. Yeah. And it worked like a workhorse. Me and my buddy Tito just ran that thing into the ground, right? And then I didn't use it for a while. Then some new generations came out, and I bought one, and the firmware wasn't working right. And I was like, whatever. And then I think I sold it to somebody, or I gave it away. Waited a couple of years, got a new generation. I never got a hold of a GoPro that was really it wasn't very consistent. It always felt like there was a bug in it. Yeah. And then I just removed myself from it. And I didn't mess with action cameras until, last year? When everyone started talking about the DJI Pocket Action, and then we got the 4, Action 4. And that thing is just amazing. There's always updates for it. They're spanking GoPro. They're literally spanking. And now they just came out with the 5, didn't they? Yeah. That we have to get. I don't care what anyone says. It has a depth gauge on it. So
low light,
depth gauge, and you can hook up 2 microphones to it, and it tracks you.
Yeah, that's all.
And
the
GoPro,
stuff.
Whatever. GoPro's dead to me as far as I'm concerned. I hate to say it.
Yeah, they're still trying to push GoPro, but I think like DJI took over that game.
I think they got lazy because GoPro was the shit for so long.
You think that would happen with iPhone? You think that will drop the ball? I think they will. Something will come.
I think it hasn't been as good. I think it would have been even better if Jobs was still around, putting his 2 cents in.
Yeah. Yeah, they went worse after Jobs.
I don't know if they went worse, but I think it just went in maybe a slightly different direction.
Yeah.
Because it felt like when he was still around doing it, each phone kind of had a drastic change. But now I don't really see that many changes unless you wait a couple of generations. It's like whenever I get an iPhone, I wait like 3 years before I upgrade. Like every year, it's not that much of a jump in my opinion.
But do you think they can make an iPhone that's ethical? That's not slave workers building?
If they could, they would do it. But it's probably going to cost them too much.
I remember Joe Rogan asking Elon Musk if he was about to make like a... Don't do that to the mic. I always have to cut that out.
Sorry, there's dirt on it.
Yeah, don't
you ever bark at me like that in front of people again. I will cut you so quick.
I cut this out.
So, but anyway. But no.
No, I remember Joe Rogan asked Elon Musk if he was building a phone, like in America, American-made phone that's ethical. So it's not like this... What do you call it? Cobalt mines. Uh-huh. And he was like, nah, not right now, but maybe in the future I will do that.
Yeah,
but he got like a new position in Trump's
He's like, I'm kind of fucking busy right now.
Yeah. Got like 5 companies, and has a position with Trump now. So
right.
His stock went so up after the election.
Did he really?
Oh yeah, his stock just skyrocketed. This episode is brought to you by Whoop. Me and Mario has been using Whoop forever now, and we finally teamed up with Whoop so you can get started today. Whoop is the latest, most advanced fitness and health wearable available, monitoring your sleep, recovery, and daily effort around the clock to deliver accountable insights on how you can optimize your performance. With Whoop, you can sleep better, train smarter, recover faster, feel healthier, and manage stress. So get started with Whoop today. Use our code join.whoop.com/intothecut to get 1 month free and a free Whoop 4.0. That's join.whoop.com/intothecut. That and Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just skyrocketing right now. I don't know what's going on with Bitcoin.
I don't understand it, so I don't mess with it.
I know you can buy real estate in Dubai now for Bitcoin. They accept Bitcoin. And a lot of people that were against Bitcoin in the government in America has resigned or got kicked out. So
did you ever hear the story about the guy that supposedly bought like a shitload of it and lost the password to his hard drive or something, and he can't get into it, and it's like...
There's an article of a Swedish guy who bought a pizza. There's a picture of him. It's like in a Swedish magazine. He bought a pizza for 100 Bitcoins. 100 Bitcoins today, that's fuck you money. That's you can retire money. He bought a pizza, and he's in that photo. He's just smiling and all happy. It's
not
like,
knowing what he just did.
I bought a pizza for 100 Bitcoins. It's so funny.
So he was trying to flex, but he actually looked like a jackass.
Oh yeah. He's probably on suicide watch right now. That's how much money.
He's probably at Systembolaget.
Systembolaget.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Every Friday he's on Systembolaget.
Do you know I had 100 Bitcoins? That's too... yeah, I just don't get it.
I had a bunch of buddies that had a lot of Bitcoins as well. Because back in the days on the black market, when you bought drugs and shit, you always used Bitcoins. Like you had to buy Bitcoins to buy the drugs to get it sent to your house. So I had people that had...
So you've heard. You haven't...
I heard, allegedly.
You heard.
Allegedly.
So you've heard.
Allegedly,
you
can buy drugs on the black market for Bitcoins back in the days.
Okay, that's... Yes.
And so I had a lot of friends that allegedly had a lot of Bitcoins.
Okay.
That would be worth millions and millions.
But they bought drugs with it.
They bought drugs. Yeah. I think one of the dudes sold a couple of years later for like 20,000 crowns or something, and that was huge back then. But today it will be worth millions. So Bitcoin is on the move.
So you could buy like a private island with Bitcoins.
Yeah. Also, Rogue Invitational, the CrossFit competition was a couple of weeks ago. And Rogue had the prize money in Bitcoin. And the competition was after the election. So when Trump won, the prize money just skyrocketed. So Tia Claire Toomey got a big chunk of money. She obviously won.
She won?
Yeah.
And who won I don't follow it.
The Canadian dude. Oh.
No, he's Canadian. It's not important.
Yeah, he won the CrossFit game, but he didn't do the CrossFit game this year after the death of Dukic. So he stepped away.
Who?
Dukic died in the first event of the CrossFit game this summer.
Is that the guy that was swimming?
Yeah, in the
I heard about that, yeah.
So a lot of people choose to not compete, which I thought was kind of cool.
Why did they choose not to compete?
Because they didn't think like the CrossFit organization treated it the way they wanted them to treat it.
In what way was that?
Which is fair. Like they should have just canceled the competition.
Yeah, but do you think he would have wanted them to cancel the competition?
His brother wanted it. His family wanted it.
Yeah, but what did he want?
No one knows.
But if you're see, there's a flip side to that, right? Because I feel like
I don't judge people.
If you're a competitive person and you're in a competition, and knock on wood, you don't ever want anyone to get hurt or what happened to that guy die. But
dude, that's tragic.
Don't you think that mentality of him is like, whoa, I'm a competitive person. Why are you canceling that? Like, you need to keep going. You understand what I'm trying to say? Like, he was trying to win. So he probably wouldn't want them to do that and sacrifice everything they did. I mean, that's just me. I know if that happened to me, I'd be like, no, you don't. Why are you canceling this? Like I would, if that, obviously you're dead, you don't have a say, but my mindset would be like, don't do that for me, man. Just try and, you follow me?
Yeah. No,
okay.
I don't think that was the big issue. I think the way they treated it was the big issue.
Oh, so what you're saying is they didn't treat it.
They were like not really respecting it.
Oh, they just kind of blew over it.
Yeah.
It wasn't, they made it.
They were lying to the athletes and saying like they had the blessing of the family when the family said like they really didn't give their like there was a bunch of bullshit.
And
that's coming out afterwards.
That clears a lot up. That's a big difference.
And I don't judge the people that choose to compete, and a lot of people like wore his jersey, and it wasn't really a competition. They were out there showcasing for the fans and like trying to keep the community together.
Right. Okay.
But a lot of shit have come out afterwards. Like it was not. That could have been prevented.
Fair enough. Okay, that's different opposed to, I'm not going to, because the way they probably felt like, well, if that was me, that's how you're going to treat me? That's probably what it was.
And he has a brother that was also competing in the CrossFit Games. And his brother said like, because they had like a silent minute. What do you call it?
Moment of silence.
Yeah, a moment of silence. And he said like, I want to go, but I don't want any media coverage when I go there. And all the cameras was on him. Just crying because his brother just died. And so they didn't treat it really nice.
Well, they didn't show much respect.
No.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Jeff Adler. That's the dude that won the Rogue Invitational.
Yeah.
That's the name of it.
Has this ever happened before in CrossFit?
No. No one ever died in CrossFit. But...
Because we lose people left and right in freediving, man.
Yes. And in triathlon, believe it or not.
Yeah.
A lot of people die in the swimming part of the triathlons.
Yeah. Well, you have to understand, too, in the very beginning, babe, you seen what happens? They're just kicking the shit. Everyone's getting hit and elbows and people are going under and someone's swimming. It's like a free-for-all until you kind of separate yourself.
They banned... they're not doing any open water swims anymore in CrossFit. They're doing it in pools. And they also... added a lot to security and stuff like that. They just dropped the report.
I think whenever you're doing anything in the water, this is just coming from a freediver's perspective. You know, it's when you start to get to certain depths, you need divers. You need people in the water that are aware of what's going on. I think I saw it one year. I forgot where they were, where they swam out. They went around a buoy and swam back to the beach. I don't know when it was. I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember seeing that. There was, if I remember correctly, I didn't see any boats out there, like around them. Surfers. You've got people on boats. We can't, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think I saw any divers in the water. I don't think I saw any, like, buoys where they could stop and rest. I mean, the water is a beast. It can look calm, but it's a monster. It's it depends on who you are, right? But even if you know what you're doing, it's still
unforgiven.
It's still a beast, right?
Unforgiven.
It's punishment. It can be very punishing. But like, I remember thinking that, watching it, I was like, they have no boat just idling out there, especially with the turn, because you're at your furthest point then, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to turn and start coming back. There should at least be a small boat out there, or a boat here, or just waiting out there. Nothing crazy.
But that's not really true, because when they had it in California, they put a lot more money on security and people, medical staff out in the water, but they like had cuts in, because they want to sell the company in like 3 years, so they're cutting back on a lot of stuff. So they probably cut back on. Yeah,
but then it was a perfect example when they shouldn't have, because you could have divers. You could have divers just bobbing out there with dive equipment, and when they turn, they could just. I mean, there's so many things that are inexpensive to do.
The people that were out there, they were like basically volunteers on paddleboards that didn't really know what to do. They like paddle where he went down. They like paddle over there, and they're like, I don't see anything, and then paddle back. So there was so many opportunities.
There was no professionals.
No.
I mean, that's the same thing with freediving. You think if I was going to be trying to go for 150 meters, I'm just using that number, or 200 meters, you don't think someone's like, oh yeah, we got some guy, he's on vacation, he's going to swim around the top. I'm like, yo, fuck that guy swimming out. Get me a freediver that when I start coming back up, if I black out, he can swim down to at least 25 meters, bring me up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You just want someone to point, be like, oh yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to. Yeah, there's no business for that.
No. So that's tragic.
And it's unfortunate that that was a lesson they had to pay, right?
Yeah. So sponsors really try.
Yeah, you can't cut corners, especially they're making money though.
Of course,
they're making money. If you don't put the money into the safety,
that's it. You have to, especially on an event where, like, if you get tired running, you just stop. If you get tired swimming, you die.
Well, unless you ain't got someone there, yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said,
That's what water is so scary.
The beginning of triathlons, you just look at the people; they're just getting hammered, dude.
Yeah.
Hammered. It's like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people die in triathlons.
We had a couple of guys we were training in our gym, and one of them, I think he quit right in the swim part. He had the biggest mouth too. He was like, "I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that," and I think halfway through the swimming part of it, he got like a elbow somewhere, and he just bitched out and swam back to the shore. And the other one that was quiet that we were training finished the whole thing.
Of course,
you know what I mean. He
usually
was
how
like,
it goes.
No ego, no nothing. He worked hard, he trained, and he finished it.
Usually how it goes.
And the other one, but it's brutal. It is brutal. Like you would think they would try and make that a little cleaner.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe they have now. I haven't watched a triathlon in probably 7 years. I don't know if they've cleaned it up a little bit.
Working towards cleaning it up a little. It's like when you start in a marathon, you start on the time you think you're going to run. So they do in groups.
But still, it's a lot of heads, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot.
But if everyone starts just mass start, that can get messy.
It's like a mosh pit in water.
I saw a new sport, though, that I haven't seen before.
Hydrox. What is it called? That sport?
No, not Hydrox.
Because you're all about that, bro.
No, I'm not all about that.
You are. It's like it's functional fit. It's not like CrossFit, but we do this and we do that.
No, I'm not all about. I think it's kind of cool that a sport arrives like that. But this is another sport. Remember the scene in Deadpool and Wolverine when they're fighting in the car?
Yeah. They
have car jiu-jitsu now. So basically, they had world championship. Basically, what you do, you start with your belt on, and then the signal goes, and then you have to take your belt off and then attack your opponent. Can use the belt.
Did they gut the car?
No.
So the seats and everything are
seats
still in the steering wheel?
Seats and everything is in there. And so they take the belt off, and then they attack their opponent. And you can use the belt and wrap it around the head and like strangle them and everything.
I saw phone booth boxing online.
Really?
Dude.
But to stay on this, there was world championship. I saw Russia against America. It was a crazy couple of rounds. They're in the car. You can roll down the window to get some more leverage, but you have to do it like in there. Like if you got your opponent and you roll down the window to get a leg out or something to get a better position. So you can use everything that's in the car, but the car is not stripped out.
That's wild. That's pretty funny though.
Car jiu-jitsu.
Dude,
check it out.
I hear you, man. You've got to check out the phone booth boxing. I didn't know I needed that.
That's
in my
messy.
Life. Dude, it's like right there, and there's nowhere to move or duck, and I'm like, I need this in my life. Like I'm hooked.
That's what I thought when I found car jiu-jitsu. I was watching hours of it.
That is too funny.
And I was only thinking about the scene, and that's probably where they got the idea. Because that fight scene is so dope. I love that fight scene. So no one can die and then just kicking the shit out of each other.
So funny, but talk about close quarters.
Yeah. So that's a new sport that arrived.
That's wild.
A lot of shit is happening out there.
What else is going on with you?
I want to give a shout out to my boy Sidney Crosby in Penguins for scoring his 600th goal.
Hockey, huh?
Yeah. Ugh. Penguins is doing shit, but he got his 600 goal, which is huge. Malkin had his 500 goal a couple of weeks ago, so the veterans they're kicking ass, but Penguins they're not doing good right now.
Are you talking about your PlayStation or in real life?
No, I'm talking about...
Because I'm ignorant to all things hockey.
I'm talking about real life.
Okay. All right.
I don't like when Penguins is losing. Penguins is the flower that it needs to be blooming for my life to be blooming. You know what I mean? I get sad.
You need a hobby.
What do you mean?
You need a hobby.
I got a hobby.
If you're sad over a team, that's not healthy.
I got a hobby. I'm training for a marathon.
You're sad. That's sad.
That's not.
You can't be depressed over our team.
No, I'm not depressed. It's not.
I mean, if it's the Blackhawks, I'd understand, but it's the Penguins, bro.
Blackhawks is not doing good either.
Doesn't matter.
Hate to tell you.
Doesn't matter.
Hate to tell you.
They're just the shit.
But they're never doing good because they're the Blackhawks.
All right.
They're shit.
We'll argue about this when we get off this podcast. So.
Anything else to add?
No, I'm good.
What do we accomplish today? Talked about phone for 20 minutes and then...
I think the highlight was the car jiu-jitsu and phone booth boxing.
I want to do a phone booth boxing with you, dude.
Okay.
You.
We got to find a fucking phone booth. I mean, when's the last time you saw a phone booth? In a Superman movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I think I was more amazed that I saw a phone booth. I'm like, where the hell is that? Like, it's an actual... And I think it was the old English one, the red one.
Did you have phone booth here in Bahamas?
No, a phone booth. Man, I haven't seen a phone booth in like 30 years.
I saw the red fire
I get that. But yeah, I haven't seen a phone booth in probably 30 years, dude. With a phone book.
but in London, they have them. When I went there when I was younger.
Yeah, when you were younger, but I don't know. I don't think they have them anymore. I think it's like, no. It's like payphones. When's the last time you saw a payphone?
Oh, remember the payphones?
Remember? When's the last time you saw
I had like, did you have the cards for the payphone that you can like
that was towards the end.
That's what cards. I had. And you can have like a hockey player on the card or whatever. God. You can have cool stuff.
I'll tell you, we'll end with this. One of the funniest things I ever saw. It wasn't funny, but it was funny, and you'll see why I said that. I was probably 15, 16 years old, and I was at the mall with some friends. And there was a guy on a payphone, and he was talking, right? And he just looked cool. You know what I mean? Like, he was older, but he just looked cool.
Yeah.
Like, I think everything he did was just cool, right? Even though I didn't know the guy. And there was this girl standing next to him, and she was going in on him, bro. Blah, 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 blah. And you know what you can tell when someone... How can I put this? When you hear someone screaming at someone else, you know how by the tone and what's going on, you can tell, okay, that person is an ass or that person is defending themselves.
Yeah.
There's a tone there where you're like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you being a dick? Or, oh my God, is she okay? There's a difference. Or he's okay, right? There's a difference there. You can tell this woman was just a nagger. It wasn't like she was yelling at him because he had did something wrong. You could tell she was just getting on him just because it was Monday. You know, there's a tone there, difference, right? And he was on the phone, and he's calm and collected, and she's just going in on him, going in on him, going in on him. And we're just kind of watching it, walking by. And then she takes her fingers, and she pushes him in his forehead, right? And he goes, hang on a second. And he looks at her, and then he hits her with the phone on the head. And she starts crying, and he goes right back to talking on the phone. Hand to God, dude. I'll never forget that.
That must be in the 70s.
No,
60s.
dude, what are you talking about? This was like 80s.
It's not like, okay in the 80s.
No, it doesn't matter.
Women had rights in the 80s.
Did they know?
You can vote.
It was so funny. You know, like I said, it wasn't one of those situations where you're like, oh, man, why'd you do that? It was like, oh, she's always doing this.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of those situations. Even at 15, 16, I could feel it.
Hey.
Some people are like that, guys or girls. Don't say, hey. There's men.
No.
Listen, there are men that are like that, and there are women that are like that, dude. There's some men that just push buttons just to do it, and then there's women. So don't give me that shit.
No. But
I know where you're going. Don't give me that shit.
No. I know. They've probably been there before, right? They've been there a lot of times before. He's still putting up with it.
That means the sex is good.
I know, right? That's the craziest bitches. Dude, you don't only put up with that for one reason.
Yeah, pretty much. You know? That's
his fucking day-to-day life,
call it what it is.
It must be amazing.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to put up with that.
She's probably like Amber Heard crazy.
Yeah. Probably shitting in the bed crazy.
Okay, I'm done. Bye.
All right. See you next week. Bye.